Hi there, Kris here with another quick tip for you. In this video, we are going to be magnetizing the weapon options for a Tyranid Tyrannofex. And as you can see here, we have the arms already laid out. We still have the body separate from the rest of the legs and the rest of the model, just so it's easier to handle the model as we drill into it and what have you. And so for this example, we're just going to show just these two arms, as pretty much the same procedure is for the other set of arms, the other cannon. I couldn't tell you what arm that was, but... And the magnets we'll be using are 1/8 or 3.1758 millimeter. Also the appropriate 1/8 drill bit. And of course I'll be using my rotary tool, but you could be using a pin vise, which would work just as well. Although because of the shank on the 1/8, I don't know if it will fit a pin vise, so I couldn't say. And as you can see, we just make sure that we had left that top part of the carapace off, just so that we can line up the gun or the arms and see how the shoulder joints line up to the rest of the body. And then once we have our angle kind of worked out, we're going to just drill in a quick little pilot hole with our exacto blade, just pretty much dead center of the socket. In hindsight though, the left arm, the way it fits in, the magnet probably should have went just a little bit further back towards the tail in that direction. Just because the way it just lines up. But whatever you do, always make sure that whatever way you line up the magnet initially, that everything else lines up afterwards. So if you say you just drill straight into the model, slot the magnet in, and then you line up for the arm, just make sure that you line it up properly. That way, you don't have, because often when the magnets aren't sitting flush against each other, they don't have the maximum amount of pull necessary to keep things in place. And even just a slight angle on the way they're sitting facing each other, their hold is like less than half strength almost, and it will be a complete pain. You can see we just glue the magnets in place, and if you are not completely confident in the magnet sitting there like that, you can always green stuff the inside just to make a secure anchor point and contact area on the back of the magnet. Really, it's just the rim. It's really the thickness of that magnet that's holding it in place. But typically it's enough, as these magnets, they have enough pull to keep things in place, but they don't have so much pull that they're just going to, tear themselves out from their connection points. You can see here with the shoulder joint, I've cut a flat side to the shoulder, and that is just so that when we get to drilling it, the drill bit doesn't jump around on us. And I'm going to do this for the bigger socket connector that connects up to the gun, whatever it is, this little tubule of some sort. And as you can see, we're just going to create a little pilot hole right in these little, pretty much dead center of the flat area. And as I mentioned before, that shoulder joint, I really should have cut it at a slightly different angle, as it doesn't quite line up 100%. Everything still holds just fine, just, it just doesn't quite feel like it's 100% grabbing onto each other. And then we're keeping our drill bit on a low RPM, the lowest that you can possibly go. If you're using a pin vise, obviously it's no worries there. Again, because if you, especially with the larger drill bits, if you spin too fast, the RPMs are too high, it will melt the plastic, and that will cause problems. As the plastic melts and it spins around, it grabs essentially more plastic, and you end up creating a much larger hole. You can see here now we're just test fitting the magnets into place, get our super glue, glue the little bits down, and then for that end one on the tubule, we're just, I was just matching it up for the shoulder joint, just so that they line up and they're all facing the same way kind of thing. And again, for the shoulder, we just, simply line it up inside the arm socket on the body. Just have the whole stack and, connect it up to the shoulder joint, just so that everything lines up properly. It's just easier. I always work with the larger stacks just to keep it really simplified, just as to, and that way you don't have to overly think of which way was I holding the magnet. Was I holding it this way? And you're constantly going backward and forth, and it's a whole pain. You can see here, we're just creating our pilot hole, getting that ready again. This is for the gun arm. You can see before how I was showing just to quickly how the alignment should go. Get our drill bit. No vise or anything like that when holding these parts, as they are quite large, and you should be able to hold it, maintain a firm grip. When drilling in through the center of some parts, just be mindful of the position of your fingers, as it's not terribly likely, but just to be on the safe side, not to drill through a bit and into yourself kind of thing. And once again, we're just grabbing a little bit of super glue, grab our little stack of magnets to make sure that we have the right polarity on those magnets, and apply onto the stack, and then just slide that part right off the stack. Get your little non-conductive helper bit to make sure the magnet is seated properly, and you can see there, we've got our little stack again. Gluing it into the gun socket for the other arm. I'm just using my old brush here just to make sure that magnet is seated properly. And that's it. And then here's just a quick little rundown of how all the little parts quickly snap together. And there you are. It's easy as that. Magnetizing the weapon options on a Tyrannofex. You can see here we shake it around, the bits hold pretty darn good. Easy as that.